Hello, beautiful souls. It is Diane Lang, Wisdom of the Akashics. Thank you for coming to the YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate your views, your comments, your likes, those that are reaching out, the clearing work that we're doing in the twin flame gateway right now that we're going through. I'm actually caught up. I again have only one to do today. I really appreciate everybody that's coming forward for the clearings because they're really contributing to cleaning up some of the work. It's kind of like the groundwork. There's things that are being cleaned up with it as a result of the work that we're doing in the clearings. And so I commend each and every one of you for participating. I did have an experience that has caused me to rethink something a little bit, because when I write back and share some of the stuff that I got in the clearing that I got, I always give people a bit of an overview. I've shared some stuff where there was some pain. I picked up some pain that is being felt by your twin as a result of something that has happened to them in this lifetime, another lifetime, where I pick up on that pain, and I shared it, and I was written back, and I was, in response that I got back, it said, I don't care about that. And I felt at that moment that I wish I hadn't actually shared that information with them, because it didn't open the heart. It didn't cause compassion. It didn't bring up love and feeling patient for them, for understanding maybe where they're at in their journey. And so I think I'm going to there's a part of me, I'm not going to switch for that reason, but I'm going to be more discerning in what I share, because that wasn't the intention. Had I thought that would have been dealt with in that manner, I truly wouldn't have shared it. I wouldn't have shared that part of their story. Because when I get a twin that comes forward in the reading, and they come forward in faith and trust that the work that we're doing, and they have free will to accept it, they're here, and they're here in spiritual nature. They're here on a soul level, and I don't want to participate in that. And I understand feeling frustrated and all of that. But if you're not compassionate to your twin story, then that's actually going to be causing your separation. And I can talk about that all day long, and I'm going to say the same thing. I can give 100 examples about it. I'm going to say the same thing. What's going on in the twin relationship, the most thing that we are frustrated in this relationship with them, in this connection to them, is actually our mirror. So if we don't take what's happening to them and turn it around and look at ourselves, they're just going to run that story for us. Separation, division will continue to take place. We're not creating union. It's not attraction energy. It's not draw energy. It's push energy. It's running energy. And so it's kind of like, if you really just say, okay, what is actually happening in this story? And they are doing this. They're not communicating with me. That's the mirror. It's actually a beautiful thing if you recognize it to be that way, because you know what to go and work on. And if you go, okay, where am I not communicating? Where am I not speaking my truth? Then when you look at that and you go internal and you recognize that and you ask the question, and then you go clean that part of your story up, that communication issue can now be moved out of the way. Spirit says, you got it. You got it. You looked in the mirror. You took accountability for your part in the story, and you got it. And as a result of it, we don't need to bring that for you anymore. Now we can go work on the next thing. So the next thing might be they start communicating, but they're not sharing their feelings. They're just, hey, yeah, chat, chat, chat. And so then it would be, where am I withholding my feelings? Well, you could be withholding them with them. You could be withholding them in another relationship. You could be withholding them in all areas towards all men in your life, all people in your life. Could be major trust issues. And you go, wow, okay. I turned the mirror around and I asked myself that question. And when I asked myself that question, I recognized I'm not communicating with, I'm withholding here somewhere. Because we're either giving out love, or we're being love, or withholding love. That is the opposite energy. Giving love or withholding love. So it's a great question to ask. And a lot of times we are wanting them to be all these things to us, but we're withholding love from them. We're holding with love from them on an energetic level. We don't spend any time on the energetic part of the story. We don't etherically work on our own story. We don't do visualizations. We don't do clearings. We just want them to go and get their shit straight so they can then come to us. It just doesn't happen like that. You're on a long journey for disappointment and pain, and they're often waiting. So much of us are attached to thinking they're the ones that aren't ready. This actually came up over this whole week, and I talked about this the other day, because Spirit keeps bringing it up to me. So if Spirit keeps bringing it up to me, then I'm going to keep bringing it up to you, because it's saying we need to hammer this story home a little harder. You know, we have to take, we are the energetic match for everything that's showing up in our life. So if distrust, division, separation, no social life, no friends, loneliness, depression, if that's all that's showing up, it's because you're literally an energetic match to it. So we have to practice, put into practice things that literally raise your physical and etheric vibration. When you do that, you now become a match to something different. Then that, like the absolute law of the universe, will be what shows up. It will work for you if you practice it. I can't do it for anybody. You can't come to me as a client and I do the work for you. I guide you to the messages that you need. I guide you to your spiritual story. I fill in a lot of blanks. I can help you, deeply help you in the Akashic records. And that's really where my focus needs to start to go back to, because they're so valuable to our soul when you understand the stories that you're carrying forward through past lives, through other incarnations that we've had with these spirits, with the people that are in our story right now, our parents, our children, the pain, all of the pain. Most of that's past life karmic connections that are stories that are being cleared. And if you've taken on a vow of sacrifice, or taken on a vow of poverty, or taken on a vow of loneliness, or you've done any of that, that actually we can clear that. I describe it as going in like a etheric virus scanner and going in on your computer and getting that shit out of the way. You get homework to be given to you that you need to do. But next thing you know, that energy has shifted. The Akashic records that have shifted that energy. It's like we went in and we got to rewrite the chapter. I know this number is important on my phone, but I'm not answering it. But we get to rewrite it. We get to go in. It's like going into the computer and saying that file no longer belongs in my story. It is not serving me to have a vow of poverty. It's not serving me to have a vow of loneliness or a vow of sacrifice. So I'm going in, I'm taking my delete button and I'm pulling it out of there. And then the 21 days of work that I give you is the work that you go in there. And it's like every day you're going to run that virus, scan yourself through the work and through the invocations that I give you to say and use, and all of the stuff that we go through when I read your records. And then that file has no place to come back onto your computer anymore. It can only come back through your law of attraction. And what we do when we work on going through that is that we make sure that we shift our vibration, so that is no longer our law of attraction. But if we've taken on these stories and we've taken on curses, and in the records, it's not only that we've been cursed. If we've ever cursed someone else, and we did it so much so that it became an energetic imprint, because that's what, and doing anything over and over and over again, it creates its own energetic imprint. And when you do that, and you've been the one that cursed somebody over and over and over again, that curse is sitting in your story. You haven't released that soul from that curse, and it will sit on you like a 1,000-pound elephant. You got to get up from underneath it. So I highly actually recommend for those of you who are interested to reach out and start asking me about the Akashic records and going beyond the clearings and working in the records and working in the longer programs. Especially if you're really ready for change. I was upstairs sitting on my steps earlier, and I literally felt like I had a spiritual epiphany. I was sitting on my steps. I was just thinking through some things. You know, what do I want to be different in my life? What's not showing up the way that I want? You know, what is the separation that I'm experiencing right now? And so I was going through all of this and doing pretty good getting some answers to my questions. And then all of a sudden I realized what has been different about my relationship with my twin. What happened to me when I met him that has never happened to me before? Because it took 50 years for me to meet him. So I'm like, what was that about? What was that experience? What changed so quickly in my life that it has sent me into this whirlwind that has been going on ever since? To understand myself, to go into self-love, to start to work on forgiveness in my relationships, to want to be a better person every day of my life. And what I realized was that I had never fully believed that I could truly, fully love another man. A man. Fully love him, unconditionally. Accept him in all of his glory and all of his beauty and then in all of his faults. I recognized at the moment I met him because I recognized him, his soul, our story. I didn't know it at the time. I hadn't even started reading Akashic records yet. But I realized I had never fully, just completely bought in that I could love someone, that I could enter a marriage with them. In my entire life, up until I met him, I have never brought marriage up with anybody. I've never brought it up in my relationships, ever. Not once. I never opened a discussion about it. I got in, one of my ex-partners said to me, well, I was planning on marrying you. Wow, in 18 months, you never ever said that to me, never let me know that, never talked about it, never brought it up. I'm really of the belief if a man wants to marry you in his heart, he shows you, he tells you that. And so I've always felt that my relationships were about other things. Learning and growing and expanding in other ways that didn't need to bring us to marriage. And I talk about that. My other thing where we don't have everybody, this actually came up in the radio program the other day, not everybody needs to be the one. If love expands and grows you, and it expands and grows you and heals you so that you have space to call in that divine sacred partnership, that's what some of our relationships are about. That's what they're meant to be about. If you go into them solely for ego and don't get nothing out of them, and you just, it's convenient, you have somebody that pays the bill, takes you out for dinner all the time, always cups for the bill. The last several men I've dated always just paid for things, and I actually had struggled with it, each one of them. I was so independent. And they said, it's what we like to do, Diane. I make up for it in other ways. And I did. I made up for it in the relationship, and the love that I brought to the relationship, and the nurturing I brought to the relationships. And as one of them said, are you serious? We get up, we have great sex, and then you make me homemade blueberry pancakes. I just cooked for dinner, honey. It was all good. And it actually, that particular discussion is when I realized that we give back in ways that aren't monetary all the time. But he didn't see as me not contributing to the relationship at all. Not at all. And it helped. That shifted me, actually. And let me receive easier. So in this epiphany, I realized that, it's the first time I've ever went, oh my God, I just want to marry that man. And that's why when I talk about it, and I've said this, and my girlfriend said to me, fuck you. You don't use the M word, Diane. That's what she said to me on the night I met him. I said, I ain't gonna marry that man. And she said, fuck you, you don't even use the M word. And I didn't use it because I just told you why I didn't use it. My story, it had never been part of my story. I didn't even know him yet. So once I got to know him and I got to meet his soul and who he was at the core, and the friendship that we gain. And I saw the respect that he has for the people in his life and how he handles things and his calmness and his kindness. And I realized everything about me would marry that man. And today, what happened to me is I instantly went into tears. I'm sitting on my front steps and just nanosecond. That's when I know my heart. I didn't have to get myself there. I had the thought, if he's the first man I've ever. And I instantly had those tears. Then I had a question that I heard myself say, do you think it could happen again if he doesn't come? More tears. Oh my God, what a sick thought feeling. Oh my God, I was just, but I thought, you know what? That is a truth we may have to face, some of us. Some of us are not going to unite in this lifetime with our twin, physically unite with them. But nobody can take away our soul connection. Nobody gets to interfere with it. Nobody gets to come in and tell you it's not real. That you're, when you are in your heart inside of a relationship, you know the difference between that and your ego. Most spiritually conscious people know. It was just so powerful for me. And always after I have something like that, I want to come do a video and share it with you right away because it's fresh for me. It was so immediate. I can't even tell you about it without feeling those tears. But I realized that's the thing that happened to me. Because that was the question. What happened? Why is this so different? What changed? Nobody man has ever done that for me. Nobody ever man. And I've loved some nice men and I loved them. It's not that I didn't love them. I just never felt like I was going to have a marriage of the heart's future with them. I never asked about wanting to be married because I thought, well, if I don't want it, why would I bring it up? And secondly, I never wanted any one of them to ask me if I knew I'd say no. I never wanted to have that happen. And my joke used to be married. I'm not only married, I've never even been asked. And then I did get asked. But I got asked by a man that I fell in love with. He's the man that I had my baby that I brought into the womb, but had a miscarriage. So I never had children, but he brought me that story. He brought me that love, but he lived in a different country. There was a lot of stuff in the way. And we never reunited after all of that happened. But I loved him. I don't ever question I love him. My girlfriend said, my God, you two saw each other from across the room. And it was literally like the room just lit up. She said, when you walk in a room side by side from each other, she said, your eyes are both so bright. The energy and the happiness and the joy is coming out of your eyes, your smiles. Everyone noticed it. Everyone noticed it. So I guess I've had deep love. And in the short experience that we shared, the potential unity of a child in our lives, and I think he asked me to marry him to be honorable. He meant it, but he was doing it to be honorable. I feel like I want you guys to get this part. So there's a question that has to be asked now, when you let go and you surrender your relationship, when you stop being involved in the story, enmeshed in their lives, there's a shift that takes place, and you have to start actually processing the difference, how you get up and you do things. I mean, I'm driving different ways right now because I feel like I need to do something different for something to change. After the experience that we had, if some of you watched the video about the pain of separation and my story. So now the next question is, do you believe it can happen again? It had never happened to me before. I'm not saying he is coming, he isn't coming. I'm not saying we are, we aren't. It's not even about that. It was about the willingness to ask the question and how deeply emotional I got when I asked it, when I heard it come through. So I did actually get the inkling to do just a couple cards because I wanted to know, you know, what is it what's still going on here, because I'm still feeling a lot of stuff around this whole experience, and I realized that there's another relationship I haven't completely let go of. And that came up, and it's come up because there's something we did a year ago this weekend, and it came up, and we had a lot of fun when we were out doing it and stuff, and then that whole event was going on again this weekend. And so I felt it. I felt the emotional energy of not being present and not being part of the fun and all of that, and the separation. I felt the separation, but I realized I'm carrying that in my heart still. I have a soul connection with somebody. That's what happens. So I was like, I knew all that was happening too. So I came down. I had my little epiphany on my front steps. And so I got drawn to some cards. And so the cards that came up, the very first one came up, no surprise, is release your ex. This can be broad. This is release any part of ourselves that we're holding onto in somebody else's story. Anybody we're still mad at, anybody we haven't forgiven. Consider ex as somebody that's not in your life presently, but that's been in your life in an impactful way in the past. Somebody you had love with, somebody that you trusted and then maybe felt betrayed, tried. It's time to, the time has come to clear your energy. The time has come to clear this energy. So I'm not surprised that card showed up, because I know there's an energetic tie there for me. This isn't a relationship I want to go back into, but I feel sad around it still. The card that came up is that there was chemistry there. There's a difference between chemistry in a relationship and love in a relationship. Chemistry is generally always there in the beginning of any relationship where there's attraction. It's just as what happens afterwards. Do you go into a form of, you know, the desire and heart and love, or do you just have this physical attraction that you may or may not even experience, but the chemistry. So there was a magnetic attraction between us. We were meant to come together. Our stories were meant to meet. The pain that relationship has caused both of us has shifted me, helped me also realize where I feel towards the one that's really in my heart. So the chemistry was there, but the lifetime companionship, the marriage of the heart wasn't going to be there. And then the card came up, so chemistry, and then separation. The time apart is on the horizon. I don't relate this to the twin, I relate this to the ex. I think if you're going to do this, if you can get in there, you can cut the cords and cut the ties, you can release them, you can clear this energy field so that you have space. And space will come in the form of, once you have moved something and you do it through acceptance or forgiveness or self-love or anything like that, you have energy to expand on that whole thing again. So you have the ability to expand on growth in your self-love. You have the ability to, you let somebody go that you aren't feeling that you want in connection with for, but you still have angst. You still have angst when you see them. You're not happy to see them. You're not happy that they're with somebody else. One of my coaches, when I was studying radical forgiveness, said to me, you know that you've grown and you've moved beyond your relationship when you can literally have them walk in front of you with another partner and you basically don't have, you're either neutral or you're happy for them. And you don't even have to be happy. You just had to be in complete neutral, meaning it didn't derail you at all anymore. It didn't derail you. So if you want a measuring stick, there's your measuring stick. And then separation, time apart. This is what you got to do. If you release this, this will create space for something to come through. And then the flip card, and this one I'm pretty sure came up in our reading the other day, is very soon. And again, it's subjective. It's subjective, very soon. But when I always say, because I don't read cards as forecasts and what's going on in the twin arena and stuff today, because for one, there's tons of them out there. So I want to teach when I offer value through my videos. And what I want is that, first of all, I think that there's so many people doing readings this week, the week of, that if you read one and that person tells you that's the energy of this week, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you read another one, but another reader has a completely different reading, and that's the energy of the week, and that's the energy of the week. And first of all, I think that you end up in a state of confusion. I think that those messages can't all resonate. And if you look for them as, say, well, somebody like tells me that's the energy for the week, you could go look for that. You could go have separation in that. You could have separation. Okay, so very soon, clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. Clearly decide, do you want to hang on to this stuff? Do you want to hang on to somebody whose energetic story isn't serving your own anymore, and there's maybe chemistry there, but they weren't meant to be the one, so then you don't have to be mad at them for not being the one. This is powerful stuff when you put it to work. I'm going to be launching a series that is going to be a membership based to teach from, because I want to teach large numbers. I want to teach to groups, and I want to teach where we get more focused and we get to do live. You can get in and you can ask me questions, and it'll be around all of the stuff that's going on, the law of attraction, the twin flames, attracting the energy of money, because when one's out of alignment, they're typically, if not all, out of alignment, at least one or other two areas of our life. And when we go correct one, like you can go correct a vow of poverty in the Akashic records, and then abundance shows up all over the place. Relationships, health, friendships, money. It's not, a vow of poverty isn't just a vow of money. We think that, and I even thought that when I was initially taught the Akashic records, and my Akashic records said to me, no, it's being impoverished. If you have no love in your life, you're impoverished in love. So this is about, when these things happen, then something will shift. You'll see the next step that you're going to be taken to. Move out of the energy of what it is that's keeping you stuck right now. Look at your twin, exactly what it is that's upsetting you the most. Turn it into a mirror, and then clear that energy, do the work around it. And you'll see it shift, and then you're allowed to go work on another part of your story, because it is literally an unfolding onion. Every part of it is just this unfolds, and this unfolds, and this unfolds. You get rid of one outer layer, there's another one there. And Spirit isn't here to make it hard on us. That's completely our own stuff. Spirit is kind and gentle and loving and giving and forgiving. They don't send us hard lessons. We get them. We get hard lessons because of our the choices that we make that bring consequences that we then have to live through. And a consequence can be felt very deeply on an energetic level. It's not just a physical consequence. You might have done something 10 years ago, and now the universe goes, well, there's that story coming up again. It's been a while. And then we don't come through it. We don't heal. We haven't changed. We did the exact same thing we did 10 years ago. So it's going to feel worse this time. If you're interested in my teaching series, please send me an email to wisdomoftheakashics@gmail.com and subscribe to your newsletter, because it's going to be all, it's going to come through a newsletter. Subscribe for group teaching. I'll be putting up a link when I have the site created for you to opt in for that. And then I'll be teaching out of that. So many lessons a month, every month. It'll be an ongoing thing. You can come in and out of it. It'll be a monthly fee, because that way you can choose to stay in it or not. You don't have, it's not I'm asking to pay a year in advance. It's not like that. If you feel like I resonate for you, what I teach you resonates for you, how I teach you resonates for you, we're going to get a lot deeper into it, because I can do a certain amount of free videos, but I want to help people inside their individual stories also, because that's when I feel where I'm really fulfilling my purpose, is when I'm part of working with somebody that then I see the changes in them. I see what happens when they put the stuff to work, and then we can go get the next layer and the next layer and the next layer. And then life just starts showing up beautifully and in a very different way. And it doesn't have to be near as painful as it is. So thank you all for coming to Wisdom of the Akashics, for watching the video today. Reach out to me. The twin flame clearings are $55 for the month of August. I actually do foresee that changing. Not by a lot necessarily, but I'm guided to change it, because it really was brought to me to do this in August, do it for this price, get in, open this gateway, get it that was given to me on, I believe, whatever, that was the 30th of July or whenever it was. I had a number that I felt like that I was going to come to me. We're not quite there, but we're almost there, because every number, that the completion of this gateway at the end, it's going to have its own resonance. So we need about, I think it's 8 more people, 8 more readings would actually get us to that number. I'll put the link for you below if you're interested in those. I also am doing them and adding in an angel communication session to go along with those now, and those count, because and then when you do that, you get 45 minutes one-on-one with me, and for like a super fabulous deal in terms of us, the money spent and the value that you can get through in 1 hour. And when I do my work, and when I do my bigger coaching programs, that's not my price point. So it's a gift to be part of the gateway and the clearings. So thank you all very much. You can reach me at facebook.com/Wisdom of the Akashics. Like the page. There's more little videos there, and also, just daily sayings that kind of help us stay in alignment and keep our hearts and spirits open, and who we are as the powerful individuals and beings that we are. I really like to make sure that people get that message, because we are all amazing creators. It's just, what are we creating? If we don't like it, we are the ones that have to do something different, because I swear to God, if you're waiting for the world around you to change, oh my God, I don't know how you feel happy in a day anymore if that's what we do. I don't know how, because the outer world for so many people, when you look out there, seems completely nutty and crazy. So thank you for coming to Wisdom of the Akashics. The links will be below. Really love it if you come like the Facebook page also. The likes on here, obviously, the more times you click the little like or send a comment, YouTube puts the video up for more people to see. It's part of their algorithm. The more people that like something or comment on it. And the reason that they do that is if a lot of people have liked something, then they put it up higher up in the ads, which just means more people get this message. The more of us that step onto our path, the more of us that align with our true partners and our sacred partnerships, and the more of us that go into forgiveness and compassion and kindness for our story, even if it's not exactly the way we want it to be, it heals the whole. And I believe that is my mission, is to be part of that. And you guys are part of it just by watching. But if you want to contribute also, there's ways to do that, and through your own form of prayer and everything. But you can also just, that alone actually lets this message go farther out into the universe, to those on YouTube, to those on Facebook, because that's the algorithm. That's what they actually look for. So God bless. Have a beautiful and fabulous day. Have a great week. Reach out if you have any questions, or is there something that you want to discuss, leave it in the comments below, And if there's any particular thing you want me to maybe talk about in regards to the twin flames or anything, or, you know, any really parts of the law of attraction, just let me know. You know, if you say, Diane, I'd really like to understand this, and then I can have a talk around it. So God bless. Have a fabulous day. Wisdom of the Akashics. I'm wiggling my computer. And namaste.